Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum, my dear students. I welcome you all to science class. It's our lesson number 1. Today we are going to discuss the topic cells to organisms. By the end of this video lesson, students should be able to define science, define cell, differentiate between unicellular and multicellular organisms, and explain functions of different plants and animal cells. So here the question is that what is science? Science is basically defined as the observation, identification, description, experimental investigation, and theoretical explanation of natural phenomena. It is further divided into 3 branches: biology, chemistry, and physics. In simple words, biology deals with the study of living organisms. The second main branch of science is chemistry. It deals with the properties, composition, and structure of substances. Third one is physics. It deals with the nature and properties of matter and energy. And our today's topic, cells to organisms, is related to the branch biology. Have you ever wondered what are these buildings made up of? Yes, these buildings are made up of very small bricks. In fact, everything in this world is made up of small basic units. Did you know our body is also made up of small units? Just like the building, every organism is made up of small building blocks called cells. So, cell is a basic unit of life, or you can say that a cell is a structural and functional unit of living things. Every living thing is made up of cells. These cells are so tiny that we cannot see them with our naked eyes. These cells will then join together to form an organism, which we can see through our naked eyes. For example, rose, lily, zebra, tiger, these are all different types of organisms. Different types of plants and animals indicate diversity of life. Now I will show you a video to understand what is diversity. Now you can easily define the diversity of life. Diversity of life is the variety of life on earth. This includes different types of plants, animals, and microorganisms. There are more than 20 lakh organisms found on earth, which affect one another in many ways to maintain balance in our environment. Some of them are visible to our eyes, for example, plants and animals. And some of them are not visible to our eyes, for example, microorganisms. Microorganisms are mostly unicellular, and plants and animals are multicellular organisms. Here the question is, what are unicellular and multicellular organisms? Let's have a closer look. Are these organisms same? No, they are not, because some are made up of more than one cell and some are made up of only one cell. Organisms which are made up of only one cell are called unicellular organism, and organisms which are made up of more than one cell are called multicellular organisms. Unicellular organisms. As we have discussed already, the term unicellular organism itself defines what type of living organisms they are. They are single-celled organisms. The functions like feeding, locomotion, expelling waste, and reproduction are carried out by only a single cell. In most cases, they are so small that we require microscope to view them. Based on the complexity of the cell, organisms with one cell are classified into two types: prokaryotes and eukaryotes. The prokaryotic unicellular organism lack nucleus in their cell, whereas eukaryotic unicellular organisms possesses nucleus in their cell. Majority of microbes are unicellular in organization. According to the theory of evolution, unicellular organisms were the first to evolve on Earth. Some examples of unicellular organisms are amoeba and bacteria. Unicellular organisms carry out all their life necessary functions. But the question is, how do unicellular organisms move? Unicellular organisms have unusual ways of moving. They use their specialized structure for movement. For example, cilia and flagella. Unicellular organism euglena have tiny hair-like structures called flagella. The flagella beat in the water and move the cell forward. Some other unicellular organisms have groups or rows of structures that move together. These are called cilia. Cells with cilia move fast. One unicellular organism that moves with cilia is the paramecium. They locomote to find food and respond to the threats by moving away. Multicellular organism. Multicellular organism is an organism composed of many cells. The term multi is technically referred to something that is more than one. Hence, multicellular means more than one. The multicellular organisms are developed by cellular specialization and division of labor. Cells become efficient in a single process and become dependent on other cells to carry out various processes. All the cells work in coordination for the proper functioning of an organism. Their sizes increase with the number of cells in an organism. Can you name any multicellular organism? Yes, you are right. Dog, cat, chicken, trees, these are all the examples of multicellular organism. Many cells of same type come together to perform same function in the body. Each cell has different shape, structure and job to perform. Now the question is, are you a multicellular organism? What are the functions your body is performing and which cell are involved in that function? Yes, you are a multicellular organism and our body is performing different functions such as respiration, digestion, transportation and excretion. Different types of cells are involved in these functions. For example, red blood cells is involved in the function of transportation. It transports oxygen around the body. Can you name the smallest and the largest cell in the human body? Yes, the smallest cell in the human body is cerebellum's granule cell and the largest cell is ovum, which is also known as egg cell, present in the body of female. Cells in multicellular organisms. Animal cells. Human body is made up of trillions of cells. Cells of nervous system are called nerve cells or neurons. They receive messages through branch endings and pass message from body parts to brain and from brain to body parts. Human brain has approximately 86 billion neurons. And did you know neurons are the oldest and longest cells in the body? You have many of the same neurons for your whole life. Although other cells die and replaced, Many neurons are never replaced when they die. Neurons are surrounded by cell membrane. They have nucleus that contain genes, like all other cells present in your body. However, neurons differ from other cells in the body because neurons have specialized cells called dendrites and axons. Dendrites bring electrical signals to the cell body and axons take information away from the cell body. Animals' body contain blood for the transportation of materials. Blood consists of plasma, red and white blood cells and platelets. Here we are going to discuss red blood cells. Red blood cells are round with flattish indented center like donuts without a hole. Transport oxygen to and from the lungs. Hemoglobin is a protein that contains iron and retains the oxygen until its destination. The lifespan of an RBC is 4 months, and the body replaces them regularly. Red blood cells are flexible and assume a bell shape as it passes through extremely small blood vessels. Now we will discuss the cells present in plant, as plants are also multicellular organisms. Palisade cells. These are special cells in the leaves of plant. They contain the largest number of chloroplasts per cell, which makes them the primary site of photosynthesis in the leaves of those plants that contain them. Their cylindrical shape allows a large amount of light to be absorbed by the chloroplast. And these cells are positioned near the top surfaces of the leaves underneath the epidermis. In the leaves of plants, they convert the light to the chemical energy in the form of carbohydrates. Guard cells. Guard cells are specialized two bean-shaped cells present in the epidermis of leaves, stem, and other organs that are used to control gas exchange. They are produced in pairs with a gap between them that forms a stomatal pore. As epidermal cells, they play an important role in gaseous exchange in and out of the plant leaves by regulating the opening and closing of pores known as stoma. They are the channels through which water is released from leaves to the environment. Also have chloroplast, which make them a site of photosynthesis. Wrap up. Today we have discussed cell is a structural and functional unit of living things. Organisms which are made up of only one cell are called unicellular organisms, and organisms which are made up of more than one cell are called multicellular organisms. Different types of multicellular cells are nerve cell, red blood cells, white blood cells, and guard cells. Let's move towards homework now. You have to do these questions on your notebook. Question number 1 is differentiate between unicellular and multicellular organism. Question number 2, name different types of animal and plant cells. Also write their functions. Thank you for your time. Allah Hafiz and stay safe.